If you're in the UK, good evening. If you're in the US or Canada, good afternoon. If you're in Australia, good morning. On today's show, we chalk Nick Aldis and the NWA. Theories fail a cash-in. 24/7 titles been scrapped. All that and more live here on the Magic of Wrestling. So I can't help but think, have we actually reached Australia yet, do you think?
Maybe.
Who knows?
We have any Australian
we got a few fans in Australia that watch the show.
They're all in prison, but still, I mean, they're fans.
All right, going for the wrestling with the paranormal. Let's go.
It's just the cousins that were shipped off to the penal colony. That's what it was.
Oh dear, this is brilliant. Of course, it's Saturday night again. It's of course the Magic of Wrestling. I've got three amazing guests. First off, the person to my left. Introduce yourself.
I am the all effing resident expert, Mr. Isaacs, and future co-host of the Magic of Wrestling.
From the December.
Got your name and lights there at the beginning.
Yeah, it's fancy.
I absolutely love this. The person diagonal to me. Introduce yourself. I'm sure a lot of people know you are anyway.
Oh, everybody knows who I am. If I'm not pissing you off in AFW, then I am not doing my job. I am the JFB, James from Boston.
Awesome. And of course, the person below me, I mean, this guy needs no introduction, but go ahead, introduce yourself.
I am that gingered up, that bubbly son of a bitch. I'm Canada Dry, damn it.
Straight to the point. Guys, has everybody had a good week?
Yeah, it had an excellent week.
Oh, yeah.
Anything exciting to report? Anything at all?
I'm working on a film. It's a thriller. I can't give away the name, but it's spine tingling. So we just started production. So I'm excited. I'm on set again. So screw you, COVID. You're not going to ruin my day.
What about you?
My week was good. I had a talk with my cat the other day. He had something that he wanted to tell me. And he came out of the closet, and I said, "You know what? I'll always love you. It's okay." And I'm supportive, and he'll be in the Pride Parade next year.
All right.
Nice.
Fair enough.
That's why he's fruit cat. Get it?
Fruit cat.
Oh dear.
No, he's not gay. He's not out of the closet. But if you are, we're here to support you.
Yeah.
And of course, the expert. How's your week been?
It's been well, my man. Just the typical hustle and bustle of weekly family man life. Can't complain.
Really, straight to the point. So, enough rambling. Let's get into some news, shall we? Let's get into part one. We call the Magic Weekly. I was actually vibing to that. Sorry, I'm miles away then. Now, first things first, Canada Dry. I know it's something you want to obviously say. Go ahead.
Okay, so I wasn't able to break this news because I didn't have permission. I knew some information, but I couldn't break it. Dave Meltzer broke it today. Adrian Adonis will be on Dark Side of the Ring this coming season.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited for that. I really wanted. Every time I know something, I can't break the story. It really sucks sitting on something like that. But, you just can't if you're not allowed. It's just the rules.
Really straight to the point. I mean, JFE, what do you reckon for this?
I mean, this is huge. This is huge news for Adonis fans because, I mean, that guy was a huge, important part of my life. And I know of Canada Dry's growing up. We're old school wrestling fans, and he was a huge part of it. I mean, I remember him in the AWA, and I remember his run in WWF, and I've grown to appreciate Adrian for trailblazing before that word was so in vogue.
And I really think that he is one of the most underrated wrestlers of all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even when he was big, he could could go like someone who's a smaller man.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. And Mr. Isaacs, of course, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I'm excited to learn more about him. Honestly, I mean, I've saw some of his work back in the older WrestleManias and the old WWF days. I'm curious to see more about him. He always had a very interesting aesthetic that really caught my eye back then, and yeah, I just want to learn more about what he was like behind the scenes and some of his early career stuff that I didn't get a chance to see.
When he was doing the flower shop, he just had a blast with it because he could just be creative and just have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to that. So next story we've got is now Austin Theory failed to cash in his Money in the Bank contract. I've got to be honest, when I saw this, I was absolutely laughing my head off. But JFB, I'll start with your thoughts on this one.
It's one thing to cash in on a world championship and then possibly lose. And you're like, you know what? He took a shot. He lost cashing in on the U.S. championship. And not to say that the U.S. title is any less significant than the world title, but it is just a skosh.
Dear. Yeah, kind of dry thoughts on this.
There's a meme going around with Seth Rollins. I'm calling an open challenge. And then they show Austin Theory. I'm cashing in my Money in the Bank. And then Stone Cold Steve Austin, what? But yeah, it was a weird way they did it. I know Triple H must have been racking his brain on how to get that Money in the Bank off of Austin Theory, and I don't know what's in his craw about Austin Theory, because he's been like making that guy take bumps like crazy ever since he took over. He's like, this is Vince's golden boy, not mine.
Yeah.
We had a discussion in the group yesterday. I asked Mr. Isaacs answered. I said, who's a bigger star, Jungle Boy or Austin Theory? And tell him what you said, Jeremy.
I said Theory. I think Theory's a bigger star than Jungle Boy. I think that if you look at both of their careers 5 years from now, I think Theory is going to have the better career.
What are your thoughts, guys?
I don't know. I mean, based on obviously what we saw this, I think was Raw. I mean, I don't see it. I don't see either of them really propelling, but we shall see.
So you don't think that maybe he'll have a comeback at some point? I mean, he's a really young man. I mean, he's like, what, 23 or something like that?
Yeah, we'll see. But I
could see Jungle Boy winning the TNT Championship on any time this upcoming year.
Yeah.
And
TNT Championship.
Yeah, but I can't see him winning the world title unless he goes through a gimmick change. Yes.
Yeah, I don't either. See, I don't see him winning the AEW world title. I just don't. I can see Theory winning the title.
But can you tell me that when Bret Hart was with the Hart Foundation, you saw him as world championship material?
Absolutely.
You
did. I was always a Bret Hart.
Absolutely.
I always loved Bret Hart.
Yeah. I from the start wanted Bret Hart to do nothing more than to be a world champion. I thought him being in a tag champion, and don't get me wrong. I mean, I love Jim the Anvil Neidhart. I mean, he's a great duo wrestler and great tag team wrestler, but you knew right from the start as soon as Bret hit WWF and really started establishing himself, you knew that guy was going to be a world champion. You knew he was going to be a world champion. You just knew it. It was right here, right in the cockles of my heart.
So if Jungle Boy makes some sort of transition to be less of a gimmicky character, a more serious character, then I could see him making the next step to becoming world. But as the Jungle Boy, I don't see it. Yeah, same with OC. I can't see him as world champion either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They're just not world champion material.
Yeah, we shall definitely see then. Next stories. Now, we spoke about this on Wrestling with the Paranormal. I'll start with JP on this one. Nick Aldis is apparently done with the NWA. This really surprised me, but what's your thoughts on this?
This is going to be ending up to be a complete and utter shit show. I mean, this is a guy who put that company on his back when this company couldn't sell out a 1,000-seat auditorium. He put them on their back. He got their name prominent again amongst wrestling fans. I think what Billy Corgan has done is he's dropped the ball, and now it's a pissing match between him and Aldis, and it's not going to result in anything more than NWA is going to lose a really big name.
He didn't watch the show last night, Liam.
He did not, did he? No.
No, I did not yet. And then Nick Aldis is he's gonna go somewhere and explode. And if it's gonna be on a bigger platform.
I like that you're taking a different stance on it because we were all shitting on Aldis last night.
Yeah. Aldis is a great wrestler. If you really look at him.
He's a great wrestler.
Yeah.
But people think he's a prick.
Oh yeah. I mean, so was Steve Jobs.
And I were saying, so what did I say? What did you say?
It's just so was Steve Jobs.
Yeah, Steve Jobs was an enormous.
Nick Aldis, Steve Jobs, they're one and the same, guys.
Yeah, basically. One invented the iPhone, the other one invented torturing people in the ring. I mean, it's all games.
Our first comment of the day. I mean,
he is a Bell's. He's not a Bell's end.
Oh dear, but yeah, obviously we spoke about yesterday, Mr. Isaacs. Is there anything you want to add about it?
No, not really. I mean, like I said last night, just to reiterate for JFB, I think that he's best suited for WWE. I think that's where he needs to go. AEW is going to get lost in the mix. He already had a stint in Impact. I don't think he's going back there. If he wants to continue being part of the big time, I think WWE is his next logical move.
Now, you mentioned last night on Wrestling with the Paranormal, you mentioned that someone warned Billy Corgan about taking Nick Aldis. Who was that?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I don't know who it was, and he didn't say either. But on the Busted Open radio show on Sirius XM, their wrestling show, Billy Corgan was a guest on there.
Yeah,
and I had heard a couple clips from his interview, and he had said that people were warning him about Nick Aldis when he first signed him, saying that he's going to be agreeable to you, he's going to be on your side. He's going to be your guy until he decides he wants something a little different, then he's going to turn on you. And he just reiterated that somebody from the past, he didn't name who, had warned him about doing business with Aldis and said that it's basically come to fruition. And
yeah, absolutely. Alex just made a valid point there. Apparently he's got enemies in WWE, so I don't know who that would be possibly.
Bruce
let
Pritchard.
us know, Alex, who those enemies are.
Yeah, him and Bruce Pritchard don't get along with each other. And they had a public spat a couple years back about something.
But imagine, though,
Cody and him are not getting along either.
Yeah, but imagine the program that him and Cody Rhodes could have if and when Cody gets the World Championship belt. I am not DB Cooper. Damn it. I am not DB Cooper. This is the third time you've said this, Alec. I am not him. But imagine the banger. Cody gets the belt off of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns takes off for a few months. You have to put him in a program with someone. Those NWA championship matches between Cody Rhodes and Nick Aldis were freaking phenomenal.
Yeah, I love that match at All In.
Oh, yeah.
So if JFB is DB Cooper, is Mr. Isaacs JFB Jr.? He's also got a bald head right now.
I do, yeah. I shaved my head yesterday, which I do every few months, but yeah. And I've got the microphone in front of my face. I got the black glasses. I mean, we're almost like mirror image. Yeah.
Which one's the real JFB?
Oh dear. Let's stick to our next story now. WWE's obviously scrapped a title. Which title will that be? The 24/7 title. Canada Dry. I'll start with you on this one. What's your thoughts on this?
No, I wanted a chance to win that before they threw it out. I had a legit shot at it. All I had to do was, be in the right place at the right time, and I'd be 24/7 champion. But I guess it's not to be.
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Isaacs, your thoughts?
So, something that really, really made me chuckle out loud earlier was, I get like Google headlines. You know how it like compiles a bunch of shit that it thinks you're gonna like. And one of the articles said, WWE retiring popular championship. I was like, popular? They literally booed it when Mick Foley introduced it. I mean, this belt was a piece of shit from the beginning. It was horrible. It was nothing but just stupid comedy fodder, that old school Vince McMahon, Bruce Pritchard crap that nobody really cares about. Poor Akira Tozawa, who's a great wrestler, had to put on a karate gi because he's Japanese and go chase around people for this stupid title. And it's just, I'm so glad to see it thrown in the garbage. Good riddance.
Literally. JFB, your thoughts?
There's nothing more comical than knowing that you signed a long-term contract with WWE. Then Vince tells you you're going after the 24/7 belt. And then that's essentially your character is chasing the champion in the back. This is an atrocious belt. All I gotta say is thank freaking God it's gone, because now we can move forward and start paring down. All those 24/7 people are going to eventually get released. And then, maybe they can do the European Championship or another second tier belt. Not the
maybe
24.
Dana
The European
Brooks really
Championship is the one that's rumored to make a comeback.
Yeah. I'd be all for the European Championship.
Yeah.
We're going to get, Noob says we're going to get a women's mid-card title or titles. It might pique Natalia Markova's interest.
No.
Who knows? We shall definitely see. So 2 more stories left. Now, a certain CM Punk made a MMA appearance. I was a bit surprised with this. I'll start with Mr. Isaacs on this one. Your thoughts?
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, but in the group chat, I was the first one to mention this. Because
You were not.
Yes, I was. I'm a UFC Fight Pass subscriber, right? So I was actually watching Cage Fury Fighting Championship, and I was like, oh, I see CM Punk's back at the commentary booth. Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, if he's going to be done with wrestling for now, he's been doing Cage Fury Fighting Championship commentary for about 2 or 3 years now. It didn't surprise me. I don't think it's really that newsworthy, other than CM Punk has been singing again.
Exactly. I was like, yeah, so
He's still here. He still lives.
what? He's alive. He's not dead. Yeah. He didn't fall in that little hole in my backyard.
I mean, when CM Punk when he left WWE, I mean, it was like people were like, he's been cited. It was like finding Elvis or Tupac, like he went to the Apple store, and they're like, CM Punk was at the Apple store looking at an iPhone, guys. I got a picture of him. It's like, okay, what's the story here?
Oh, dear. Yeah, absolutely. Canada Dry, your thoughts on this?
I noticed his jacket looked very thrifty.
Okay.
It looked like Ron Burgundy.
Say when he was doing commentary in WWE that he gets most of his stuff at the thrift store. So I think that he bought that jacket from the thrift store because it looks very thrifty.
He just needed the mustache. He could have been Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
Yeah. The brown jacket. I was like, that looks like he got it from the thrift store. That's his thoughts.
F you, San Diego.
Dear. And of course, JP, your thoughts on this?
Hey, you know what? Listen, the guy's not doing anything. Might as well throw him a bone, let him do some commentary. I mean, if anybody knows what it's like to go 0-2 in a mixed martial arts promotion, it's CM Punk.
Let me tell you guys something funny from the show when I was watching it. All right. So one of the fighters came out the Real American.
Oh, jeez.
And the main play-by-play guy, which I think his name's John Morgan. He's a MMA journalist. He was like kind of cracking jokes about, Hulk Hogan and his theme. And you could tell Punk was like very uncomfortable and didn't want to mention anything at all about wrestling.
Yeah.
So he was like, just basically like, yeah, that's, I hear. And that was it. He had nothing to say about Hogan or wrestling or anything.
A man of 1,000 words.
If AEW wanted to get some eyes on the product, put CM Punk in the booth just for Young Buck and Omega matches. just for that. He doesn't need to wrestle. It's like, just want you for commentary for this. That's it. Say whatever you want.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
People, you know what the ratings would be like on those things?
Yeah, they would go up. Definitely
get people talking, so that'll be definitely interesting. So One more story for the Magic Weekly. Now, Jeff Jarrett slams Braun Strowman and Triple H on Dynamite.
What was the quote?
This ain't no make-believe monster who wears red skinny jeans and is produced by the Banana Nose Circus. JFB, I'll start with you on this. Your thoughts?
I mean, initially it was funny. It was funny to take a pot shot at Braun Strowman, who's got mega heat right now with WWE, and it was funny to kind of crack a joke at Triple H's expense. But at the end of the day, you can't rely on taking pot shots at WWE. It's not going to bring people in. It's not going to be like, oh, they talk shit about WWE. I got to tune in next week. It's not going to work. I mean, they need a Tony Khan and who's ever writing these promos needs to kind of say, okay, we exist in our own universe. Let's talk about AEW. Let's not consistently talk crap about WWE. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for the business.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Isaacs, anything you add?
I would agree with that. They really need to quit giving WWE any time or attention here. I mean, it's getting a little ridiculous. And I don't know what Jarrett's beef is. I don't know if maybe Jarrett was more of a Vince McMahon guy.
I think so. I think he was fired.
Yeah.
And I think that's, he's had to get fired.
Yeah. So I don't know if that was the reason why he took a shot or if he had anything particular about Braun Strowman or if he was just cutting a heel promo that he knew people would talk about, trying to get over his big guy at the expense of the other big guy on the other channel. I mean, it could be that simple as well. I'm not really sure. I'd be curious to see if he comments on it with his podcast.
Yep, we shall definitely see. Canada Dry, thoughts?
I'm actually excited to when Satnam Singh is actually ready to wrestle because, he's training, and the reason he's not wrestling yet is because he's not ready. But he's biding his time. He's training, and he's going to be better than Braun Strowman.
Yeah. I think.
Do we know that?
Anyone's better than Braun Strowman.
Giant Gonzalez, you want to bring him back?
Oh yeah, I'll bring 10 Giant Gonzalez back.
Or Great Khali. I mean, come on, there's way worse big men than Strowman.
All I know is
if I run their mouth.
All I know is if I'm Triple H and I'm booking Braun Strowman, it's super kicks and Canadian destroyers all day long for Braun Strowman. That's all he's going to do.
Any flippity flop moves. All flippity flop wrestling.
Oh dear. And we're ending part one on the words flippity flop.
Flippity flop.
Actually, in fact, I'm actually changing AFW to all flippity flop wrestling.
All right. I'm ready.
Oh,
nice. Just add an extra F, it fits. All good.
W.
That is brilliant. Of course, that wraps up the Magic Weekly. So let's get into our main event.
The main event.
I don't know what it is, but that ending bit always gets me. I have no idea why.
Because he doesn't know where to put the quarter. He's like, come on, put it in. Like, where do I put it in?
Oh, dear. So, of course, for our main event now, we've covered a lot of things in wrestling, but today I thought I'd do something different. I thought I'd say, well, let's learn all the origin stories about our shows. Of course, we've got 4 on the network, so we'll start with your 2 shows, the All If Wrestling show. So this is a question for you both, really. How did the whole show basically come about?
Okay, so I think to tell this story properly, we really got to start with the origins of effing wrestling itself. So we're friends with Benji and the Freshly Squeezed Grand Prix, and we would have a good community there. It was good. We had a good chat, but every once in a while there was this guy, and he'd be a dick. And
can we name him?
No, let's not.
I'm just kidding.
And so one day he was bullying me, and I was just like, I had enough. I'm just trying to enjoy myself. And so I said, how is this not bullying? And I let Benji know, and we created this other chat, which is where the All Up Wrestling community was founded, and we called it Pro Wrestling Chat. It was just very generic, Pro Wrestling Chat.
Straight to the point. I love it.
And so what happened was Dallas was making a fantasy league, kind of like football fantasy, where you pick the players or whatever. And it wasn't going well for them because Dallas's boyfriend at the time, he was mismanaging everything and he was screwing everything up. They had everyone move to, what was that chat
Discord.
they had them on?
Discord.
No, it wasn't. It was that weird one with the coins and all that.
Yeah, Discord. Yeah, it was Discord.
Oh, what was
I think it was Discord. I think I quite.
It wasn't.
Big...
It was. It had some weird name. I forget it. Anyways, what happens is that we were kind of just laughing at in the chat about what was going down with Manny, and we were just all kind of laughing about it. And Dallas saw it in the morning. He was pissed.
He was angry.
And so he threatened me that because I made him an admin in the chat or whatever. And he's like, I'm going to close this down. I'm like, you're not closing it down. And so I was also talking to Natalia Markova at the time. And she was telling me, you need to start your own brand. And so the timing, all that happened at the same time. And we turned that chat into effing wrestling. And then we created a group, and we built up that group. And then we were chatting one day, and JP said, if you want to do a podcast, I'm your man. And I was like, you know what? Yeah. And we got a Lewis originally.
Yeah.
And he left a little bit later on, and then we called it Just Another Effing Podcast. We thought it was cool, but that we outlived that name.
Yeah, we did.
When we changed it to the All Effing Wrestling Show. Do you want to add anything about that, JP?
Yeah, I mean, the Just Another Effing Podcast was a placard. And then as we started kind of being more than just a podcast, we were being a show. We had news and we had jokes and all these shenanigans that we're known for. And I was like, we need to change the name. We're not just a podcast. We're a show, because we're live streaming. We got people interacting with us. We're a show, and so that's where we came up with. I
think you wanted to call it what did you want to call it originally?
Oh, I think I originally wanted to call it Just Another Effing Show, I think is what we wanted to do.
I think so. And then I was like, yeah. I think we need to overhaul it like a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then the All Effing Wrestling Show just sounds good.
Yeah.
And that was something that Natalia said to us. You need to have a better name, more positive. Like you're like giving yourself a blah name with Just Another Effing Podcast.
Yeah.
So it took a bit, and we've got our heads on straight, and now we're the flagship show of Effing Wrestling.
There you go. So, Mr. Isaac, have you got any questions for these two? Obviously, part of the Effing Wrestling show.
And when did the show start?
Last year.
Oh, last year. So it's relatively new.
Last April.
2 years old, isn't it?
We're 2 years old. Yeah. Yeah. This is our second season.
We're near the end of season 2, aren't we?
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. We're clicking. I think the first one was February of last year. So
I think one thing that's brilliant that you guys have done is intertwining the fantasy league with All Effing Wrestling. So it's like you kind of have a built-in audience from that league. Yeah. So like it's all kind of intertwined, and I think that's brilliant to kind of mix those two.
Well, yeah, that was something that I really wanted with. I think what we do really do is we do really well as branding, but the other thing we do really well is having everything as a body. Everything is connected. Everything is
absolutely.
This is a hand. The hand loves the other hand. They're all together. It's not this is way over here and we don't love that child as much. But like we joke about AFW losing on different shows. So
yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about obviously how you obviously plan each week. How does it all come about?
Well, you do it much differently, Liam. Usually, JFB and I, we're flying by the seat of our pants, and sometimes we don't have it ready till the day before. Like, what are we going to talk about? I don't know. There was one episode where Buff Bagwell was supposed to come, and we're 5 minutes to air, and we're like, well, what are we going to do if he doesn't show? It's like, well, luckily last night, what was it, SummerSlam?
Yeah, SummerSlam.
It was like, let's do a SummerSlam review show. We can just talk about that. And we're like, we pulled that one out of our ass.
we pulled that one straight out of our ass.
but yeah, it's usually we message on Messenger, and we figure it out usually a Wednesday or Thursday, and we come up with ideas, and I'm pretty stubborn sometimes.
A skosh, just a skosh, damn it.
I'm like, we're not doing that. Stupid Benoit's not going on the list.
It took me a year and a half for him to even agree to do an ECW episode, and it was the worst episode we've done.
Oh wow!
It didn't do what I told you.
I know, but I mean, as stubborn as Canada Dry is,
one of our worst episodes.
It was one of our worst episodes in terms of
The Undertaker was our worst episode.
Yeah. Really? That's because we spent an hour and a half talking about the Undertaker's career. Like it was
like we didn't really talk about it. We just listed it, and we weren't very interactive about it. It was just...
So what was bad about the ECW show?
I don't know. I thought it was a great episode. It just
I think people, what they really want is what's going on now, not so much. They want more of what's happening now.
Yeah.
They don't want history. They want, let's talk. What's going on now? Let's talk about what happened last night and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Dallas, he's talking about another league.
Boot him.
Oh dear. Of course, Mr. Isaac, any more questions for these guys?
No. I think that does.
You have a question.
Yes, obviously I'm making sure Mr. Isaac's not like being left out here. So, do you have any episodes which you've done which you really stick out for you? Could be for good reasons or bad reasons.
I think the Owen Hart episode, was our first really, really good episode, and we kind of captured something in a bottle there, because we were both getting really emotional on the podcast, and it was just like. It did really well for what it was. Yeah.
I mean, it was a hard episode to do because both of us are Hart fanatics. We're Hart marks. We don't apologize for it. We try to include the Hart family in as many episodes as possible because they were the ones who brought us.
I love with wrestling. So
yeah, I mean, they're the ones who got me into wrestling, you know, I mean, so the Owen one was a really tough one. I know one of my favorite ones was our masks and our actually was our family episode, the families of wrestling, because it was a two-parter. I mean, we got so engrossed in it, we had no choice. We had to split it up. By the time we got to number 6, we were already an hour in. We're like, well, let's just make it a two-parter, and you know, to get to talk about these historical wrestling families was just it was so much fun, you know, because I mean there's a lot of great families that, you know, have second, third, fourth generation wrestlers now.
And I'm always very, very proud when we had Natalia Markova on the show, because without her, I don't know, like if I didn't have, like when a pretty girl encourages you, it gives you something, but when a pretty girl who's a wrestler tells you can do it, it's even more. It's just like, it just boosts your confidence. And I don't know if I would have had the confidence to do it. Like, she just said you can do it, and you're like, someone believes in you. That's, you know, they feel like they're up here and you're down here, and they're just reaching you on your level, and they're just like, yeah, man, you can do it. It just gave me that extra boost.
Yeah, Brian Clark was a good one. Adam Baum, that was a fantastic one. That was probably one of our best guests who aren't really associated with us.
The Bagwell episode was good too.
Yeah, Buff was really good the first time we had him.
We had to just let him talk. Like, he was so good.
Yeah.
Really. And one last question for obviously the All Left in Wrestling show. Will Markova win tonight?
Oh yeah.
I think she will. I think they've had her crown broken. They've had her got beat up a couple times by Max. So I think she's due.
I know where Billy Corgan lives in Nashville, so I'm just throwing that out there. If you want to, I can send you the address. He's got a huge fence, but it is scalable. If you have 5, 6, 7 friends, you can scale that wall pretty quickly. So,
but the nice thing about a Natalia Markova match, even if she loses,
it's still a banger match.
It's still a really good match because she puts on a show. Like as I've said this before, she can sell like anyone in wrestling. Like she can sell as good as anyone.
Yeah, absolutely. One of my favorite episodes for your guys is I'm not quite sure whereabouts you were, but it's Stereotypes.
Mm-hmm.
One of the old, I think it's one of your first ever episodes. Every time I listen to that, it's because of all the facts you actually speak, and it actually makes you think more about from an outsider's point of wrestling. That's probably one of my favorite episodes.
That's cool. That's cool. I wouldn't even pulled that one out, but that was a good one.
Yeah, it was a fun one. It really was.
Now, of course, Mr. Isaacs, obviously you've only been in part here for so long. Do you have any episodes which stick out for you? Could even be one what you've been in.
I enjoyed the one that I was on. We had a round table about like the Attitude Era, I believe, didn't we?
Yeah,
we did that a few weeks ago. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one. I got to go back and check out some of the back catalog because I joined you guys really, really late in the game, so I haven't heard any of these early episodes you all are talking about.
Well, the thing about it, you can see how we've evolved over the course of 2 seasons. You'll see how we get better.
Yeah,
and how we can.
I'm gonna have to deep dive into the vault and see what I can find because I'm curious.
The vault. Do you know?
You can
unlike Disney, when the episode's in the vault, you can access it anytime.
The vault. I forgot about the Disney vault.
And it's free. Dear.
And it's
right,
free,
so there you go. So we shall move on to our next show, which is on a Friday, and it's one me and Aaron's obviously part of now, Wrestling with the Paranormal. Now, obviously, I didn't join this from the start, so Aaron, go ahead. Tell us how the whole thing came about with Paranormal.
So Austin and I, and actually Kenny, were talking about Paranormal. And we wanted Kenny to be a part of this, but he couldn't. So Austin and I just started the podcast, and Austin's time is he's a father and he couldn't do it. So I had to bring in my friend Craig. When Craig really we meshed really well, and but I guess this summer. I thought it was the end of the road for Wrestling with the Paranormal, and I was like, I can't do it on my own. Like I really need someone to bang off of. Like it's just. So I was like, you know what? I was talking to Dallas, and I said, I'm gonna have to end the show, and he's like, well, why don't you ask Liam? I'm like, give it a shot. And then Liam was all over it. He's like, yes, 1,000 times, yes. And I was like, okay. And our first show was pretty rough, actually. I was like, oh no. And then the next week it was really good. And I think Liam didn't really quite get what was going on.
The first episode we ever actually did, I mean, you can go back and listen to it. Because I didn't understand the whole format, it sucked. It absolutely sucked. And even I'm like, oh my God, what have I done here? But as you've mentioned there, I mean, as weeks progress, you get better. But hey, what can I say? I mean, JP, I don't know how much you know about the Paranormal Show.
I've been on that episode.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Only one.
Just one episode. But, I have a ghost that lives in my house. And so when I was talking to Canada Dry about it, and he's like, you should come on the show and talk about it. So I certainly did. I came in and talked about my ghost that lives in the house that likes.
So when's the last time you seen your ghost?
It's been a couple weeks. It's been a few weeks.
So what did you see it doing last time you saw it?
No, last time I heard it walking, and then heard it whispering, and both me and my wife were like, "Whoa, wait a minute! Did you say something? No, did you say something?
But did you understand what it said?
Yeah, it just said, hey. So. But my wife actually contacted the ghost, and when I was on a set, I was on a film set working, and she got out the to record the voice, and she kept asking questions, and it would set off the EMF detector anytime. So we know it's a female, and we know she had 5 children, and she lived on the property. I don't think she lived technically in the house, but she lived on our property. So yeah, it's creepy.
And last night we had probably our best episode.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Mr. Isaacs, you made your debut there. Talk about the experience.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I was a little intimidated by it whenever I agreed to do it. Aaron had sent me a message and said, "Hey, do you want to come on here? Do you like paranormal stuff?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" And he's like, "Okay, well, listen to this 30-minute video and pull out a bunch of information and then go over 10 minutes of it." And I was like, "Oh, I got a homework assignment." Honestly, I was a little nervous about this one, but I got my stuff together. It wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be, and it ended up being a fantastic time. Like, I really enjoyed it. I thought it went over well. I think it's a very unique show. I've not seen or heard anything like it. I mean, there's hundreds of wrestling podcasts out there,
Yeah,
but this is very unique. Like,
combining 2 types of shows into one.
Yeah. I had not seen this kind of angle taken before, and I had a great time, and I'll probably do it again.
And so you're actually going to be doing our Bull or Truth segment from now on, right?
Yeah. I'm going to see if I can find some stories, or if anybody out there wants to send me some stories, I'll just kind of read them out and send it to the guys here, and they'll go along.
We'll have to guess if it's Bull or Truth.
Yeah.
Can I just say about it?
When you have the Bull or Truth, like, instead of having a bull, you should have put like Bull Dempsey from NXT. So it's like Bull Dempsey or R-Truth.
Yeah. There you go. I like
it. Brahma Bull, though.
Yeah. I mean, that fits too.
The one thing I like about Mr. Isaacs is how he delivers the stories, because it actually fooled me. I mean, I thought it was actually Bull, but it turns out it was Truth.
Well, that's the thing. George Penning is also normally he's been a part of the show for a while, and he's been doing the Bull of Truth, and I was even talking with Craig. He's like, we should just have him on just eating a cheeseburger one day and just like not saying anything, and we'll go like,
oh dear.
But how have you liked doing Wrestling with the Paranormal, Liam?
I mean, I will be honest, when I first started it, I was really, really nervous because I saw how well Craig did it. And so I'm like, oh, shit, I hope I do him proud. So, yeah, when I did that first episode, the format, absolutely, I was all over the place. But I'm one of these guys where I beat myself up if I do something wrong, or I'm probably my worst critic, I will be honest. But as weeks progress, I mean, it's so much fun now. Do you know what I mean? We have a good laugh.
Yeah, that's another thing about the show is that it's usually dark or scary shit, but we laugh our asses off on that show. It's like, I remember we did, me and Craig did The Man Who Killed Halloween, and that one is the guy gives his son a cyanide candy and kills his own son. And we were able to laugh about it. I'm like, how did we laugh about this? This is so fucking
I thought it was funny last night we were joking about the rock music and Led Zeppelin being played, and the aliens must be really into Led Zeppelin. Like, it
was a weird thing. Like, in the middle of the night, Led Zeppelin's just blaring, rocking your house, and there's no source for it. It's just like, it was an odd choice too, right?
Yeah, it was. It really, really was. Now, obviously, for people listening, Canada Dry, how do we plan each show?
Pardon me, what did you say?
I said, for obviously people listening, how do we plan each show week to week?
It's kind of how me and JFB do it. We just message each other and we talk about it, and you give me a recommendation and I say, all right, sounds good. Or vice versa. We don't really argue about it. Usually the other person says yes.
Yeah, I think there's only been one time where you're like, no, we're not doing that. That was the Paranormal Games. I think you refused to do that one.
Well, I did want to do it, but then I there's certain things that I want effing wrestling to represent, and I don't want it to get I don't want it to be a doorway for anything evil. And so that's one of my things that I stand on.
No, that's absolutely fine. I mean, like I said, I'm one of these guys where I'll do literally anything I get asked to do. So, yeah, that's the end of Wrestling with the Paranormal. Now, of course, it's my show. It's the magic of wrestling. So, where do you want me to start with this, guys?
Why don't JFB? Why don't you ask him some questions?
Well, yeah. So, what was the inspiration for jumping into the podcast arena?
So, okay. So originally, I used to write like articles, like on certain wrestling topics, like matches and stuff like that. But then, it gets to a point where you feel like I'm a bit bored of this and stuff like that. So I was messaging a couple of the guys. I said, look, I kind of want to do a podcast, but I have no idea how this actually works. So then I was back and forth. And then obviously I planned it out or come out with a name, The Magic of Wrestling, which again is unique to my character. Obviously, episodes obviously aired, and then which came the partnership with obviously you guys. So which I'm super grateful for. That's
so originally you weren't partnered with us.
No, I was.
But you did come on our show first to kind of got you on our show first to kind of try it out, get a feel for it, right? And then what was how long before you started your own after you appeared on our show?
It kind of went glitched. Do you want to start that again?
How long did you was it before you started your own show?
It was on ours. It was a month before. I was basically planning so much out. I mean, fan theory obviously was something I've come up with, and we're planning. Mine's a lot different. I always plan month to month. I mean, I guess that's just the way I am. The thing is, I'm so planned ahead. It really bugs me. I'm like, am I going too far here? Dear.
And so originally, I was trying to get Gary Joe and his show to be on our network, and he agreed, but then he just didn't follow through, and it kind of just fell apart. And I'm glad that nothing against him, but I'm glad that didn't work out, because you and I started chatting, and I was like, you need to come on our network and be part of Effin' Wrestling. And you were quite skeptical at first.
I was.
Tell us what went on in your mind when I was trying to get you on board.
It wasn't like I was. I was obviously skeptical of. I was so used to doing things myself. It was like, no, thanks, I'm all right. But then I thought, you know what? You got to in life, in my personal opinion, you might guys agree with this. You've got to take risks.
Yeah.
For things like that. So I thought, you know what? Let's just see what happens. I mean, try it as a.
Well, I also told you, if you don't like it, after a certain period of time, you can leave and do your own thing. Yeah. And you're like, okay, that pretty much pushed you over the edge, I think.
Yeah, and obviously as months progressed, obviously we just basically back and forth and so much work, and then here we are now. So, Mr. Rises,
you also like after the first week, you're like, all right, I'm in. I'm part of it. You're like, I don't want to leave. I'm part of the group now.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Mr. Rises, obviously this is where me and you obviously became friends. Tell people a bit of a backstory how we became friends.
Well, Liam and I randomly met each other through a mutual friend on TikTok. Had absolutely nothing to do with wrestling. Did not know he was into wrestling. He did not know I was into wrestling. But we just kind of converged in a group chat. And he's like, hey, I'm doing a wrestling podcast. If anybody's interested in checking it out. I was like, oh, I love wrestling. I've watched wrestling my entire life, and I listen to wrestling podcasts all the time. So, one thing led to another. Hey, do you want to be on my podcast? Sure. Why not? I've always wanted to do a podcast, and it was the very first one that I ever did. And it was in the older days prior to Effin' Wrestling's involvement.
Is that true?
Yeah. That is true, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was before Effin' Wrestling. The first time I was on, which was about a year ago this month, because it was in November of 2021, I remember.
I can actually tell you the episode. Bear with me. I will carry on talking. I will find the episode out.
Yeah, I think it was like episode 7 or 5 or something like that. It was like very early on in your tenure as a host. And, I was excited about it. I was kind of nervous about it. I was like, oh, this is my chance to get in and do a podcast. I've always wanted to do one. I've never had the wherewithal to do it. I never had like a co-host. I didn't have the technical expertise to do it. And now somebody's asked me to do it, and it's pretty damn exciting. And, so I did it, and I thought it went well. I thought that he and I had really good chemistry in that first episode. And of course, the first one turned into a second one, then turned into a third one. And I think I've done it like 7 or 8 times now.
When I saw you on the show and I got Liam to get you into AFW, what episode, how many times have you been on the show by that point? Is that 3 or?
I think that was the 3rd, I believe. I mean, it was episode 7.
Yeah.
Yep. Episode 7 was obviously.
This guy in AFW. And essentially what I wanted to do is I wanted to check you out because I'm like, I don't want to get anyone involved here. I like what he's doing here, but I want to check him out. I want to get to know him. I want to see what he's about. And that's the reason I wanted you in AFW, because AFW is a great place to get to know the people and to form community and to form opinions about people.
Yeah, absolutely. So another little thing for you, Mr. Isaacs. How did you get the name the effing resident expert? Do tell.
Well, one of the things that you and I had come up with, we did an episode where you found questions on the internet about wrestling from like Quora.com.
Yep.
And ridiculous, absurd questions. Some of them were legitimate questions. You know, like, I'm just going to find a bunch of questions from the internet and just ask them to you, and you give a response to them. Like, all right, that sounds simple enough. So we did that, and it was funny. It was a hilarious episode. It was a lot of fun. So we're like, well, why don't we make this kind of a semi-regular thing?
Can you just be the epic expert though, instead of resident? Because then it's like,
well, it kind of turned into, well, I'm the expert. And then whenever I started doing more shows on your all's network, I think Canada Dry, I believe you then coined me the resident expert of all F and wrestling.
I think it was GFB with the resident part.
Yeah, it was.
He had the resident. He had the resident part.
Yep.
Okay.
But I think we should drop the resident and just be the F and expert.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can do that.
Yeah, because I mean, doctors go through internships and residency, and then they become full-fledged doctors. Yeah. So I mean, I think you paid your dues.
I've kind of gone through it.
I'm going to change your name, but I don't have the authority to do that here. It's not
our. Dear, that's pretty much the thing. So we've obviously got one more show left now. Obviously, you guys are a big part of this one. It's Dynamite After Dark.
Oh yeah.
So go ahead, guys. Tell us the origins of this.
Canada Dry actually said, hey, we need to do another show. And I said, all right, what are we going to do? Well, let's do a Dynamite recap. And I'm like, this actually makes legitimately good sense. This is good business to come on literally minutes after Dynamite ends and either hail it as the greatest episode of Dynamite ever or completely trash it as this thing is hot garbage in a dumpster fire falling off of a bridge into a cave. I mean, we have the opportunity to really talk about our love for AEW and for Dynamite, because AEW is a big reason why all of us are linked together because of AFW.
And one of the things that we really started with was Alex, and we would phone him in the middle of the night, and we had this thing back and forth where we'd call him and he'd have some mean message for me, or he'd be like, what's going on? Why are you calling me so early in the night? But anyways, it was fun. Yeah. And it really got a lot of momentum right off the get-go. It didn't have no dead time at all. Like, people watched right from the beginning. It had a built-in audience because everyone in AFW just came on over and participated.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, Mr. Isaacs, I've seen you on the show quite a few times. Talk about the experience. Yeah,
so this is another one I was incredibly nervous for the first time I was on it. So I was like, I'd spent quite a bit of time getting to know Liam, but I didn't really know you guys. And I was like, I'm going to be on the show right after Dynamite goes off the air. And it's like, what if I don't pay attention enough? And they ask me something and I don't know how to answer. And I don't really know these guys. Are they going to hate me? Are they going to shut me out after this and never let me do this again? What's the deal? No, but I came on and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I've done it repeatedly since then. I don't know how many I've done. I've probably 5 or 6 at this point.
Yeah.
It's up there, but it's always a lot of fun. Sometimes I have to have an extra monster because I do have a 9 to 5.
Cheers up there, eh?
I have a
monster.
There we go.
You have monster. You have apple juice.
This is Southern sweet tea.
Okay.
A couple of kids and everything, and now sometimes I fall asleep. I've actually fallen asleep during Dynamite a few times. So whenever I do the show, I'm like, okay, I got to get the extra monster out because I'm not falling asleep. Damn it, I got to do the show afterwards. But,
and you and I even talked about you spearheading another show, possibly.
Yeah. You and I have kind of discussed that a little bit about possibly eventually doing like do you want me to say it?
Sure, go ahead. It's possible.
About the possibility at some point of maybe doing a post Monday Night Raw show.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I'm going to need probably 2 monsters for that.
You're going to need that in a big bag.
Every single match.
Oh dear! Coming the end of the week, it'll just be gone. Which kind of brings me actually to an interesting question. Have we got any more podcasts in the pipeline for the network?
We do. We got one that I may do on Thursdays. We've been kind of battering it back and forth, doing kind of a watch, where we'll, pick pay-per-views or episodes of Raw or episodes of Nitro or SmackDown or even AEW that were very pertinent, and very important, and kind of going through, each of the matches, giving it a rating, and kind of doing that, where not so much a watch along, but kind of get a panel in to talk about, these important episodes, like, the episode of Raw where Mick Foley became, world heavyweight champion, or talk about WrestleMania and stuff like that. So
that'll put butts in seats.
Yeah, put butts in seats.
The other show that we also have in the pipeline is, what was the one? Recipes with Dollywood, or no? What was it? Wrestling with recipes. With Dollywood, and the idea is like she's gonna have a guest while she's cooking, and it'll be pre-recorded. Can't do that live. But wrestling with recipes is something that her and I have talked about, and I think it's kind of like got that same sort of feel as Wrestling with the Paranormal. And you can really do wrestling with fill in the gap.
Yeah.
You can do it with anything. Wrestling with, and then you can do it with anything.
There you go.
That's the basic formula that we took from Wrestling with the Paranormal, and you can really do it with anything. And I really love that this episode we're doing now is happening right now.
Yeah.
At this period of time, because we are so close to being monetized, and it's kind of like the next stage, and we're ready to make the next step.
Yeah.
And we'll do this again next year. Don't know what show we'll do it on, but and we're just gonna see.
I've had that.
Where that guy's toe is coming along, episode to episode.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Yeah, we're actually really so close. I think how many hours were we away? I'm not quite sure. I've not seen it recently.
We're about 500 away.
Yeah.
500 hours, and we're coming along. So it's gonna be really excited when we see Monster come up on the screen while I'm drinking Monster.
Absolutely. So we've got a few little more questions as we begin to wind down. So this is a question for each of you, actually. What would you say the
question out there watching on the show? Let us know what any questions that you have.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thinking. So this is a question for you all. What would you say the hardest part is of doing a podcast? I'll start with Canada Dry.
The hardest part for me is the Wrestling with the Paranormal, because you really gotta get that in your head, and and that's why I loved Jeremy so much, is because he was able to just smoothly get that information out there, and it was just like silk. And honestly, he made me better last night, because excellence gives more excellence. Iron sharpens iron. So for me, the hardest part is getting that story out and telling it the way you want it to look.
Yeah, absolutely. JP, what about you?
It's just fun for me. I just love it. It's pure pleasure.
JP, what about you? What's the challenging bit for you?
Well, outside of the heavy drinking that involves me and Canada Dry trying to figure out what topics we're going to do for the All Effing Wrestling show, and then the combativeness between us, It's piecing it together, like getting our pictures and kind of setting everything up so we run smoothly, because it's a lot of note taking. I mean, I have massive amounts of notebooks just laying around of just topics, ideas, and then actually doing, the sketching out the show and kind of formatting it, so that we.
I have a question for JFD. So I had to do your job last Wednesday, and I hated it.
I know it sucks.
You don't like
love it.
Either.
I love it because that's the anal retentive side of me. I love.
Yeah, we need that. We need that because I just want to be the goofy comedy guy that has fun on the show.
It kind of went off the rails a little bit.
And I couldn't do that. I was getting mad at everyone inside. I'm like, trying to do the show here, stop it. And they're like, I don't know, I'm like, they're just being like I am every single week.
Yeah.
Mr. Isaac, what about you? Obviously, you've been on obviously quite a few shows. What's the challenging bit for you?
Well, kind of going back to Dynamite After Dark, the challenging part is making sure I'm awake and focused enough to pay attention to every segment of the show so that I have something to say when it comes up. And, I'm always afraid that like something's going to throw me off, like one of my kids is going to need something or whatever, and I'm going to have to walk away for a segment, and then I'm going to come back and it's going to be over, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what the hell to say now.
The third one we didn't mention was so how did Isaacs become part of Magic of Wrestling? Now he's going to be your co-host.
So it all boils down to planning. The one thing I found is like when you book guests, I mean, there's always things which happen. I mean, I get it. In this day and age, things do happen. But I've had it where guests let you know at the last minute, and that's something which really irritates me. Like if I'm due to go live at 5 Eastern, somebody's letting me know like 5 minutes before, oh, I can't make it. Great. So now I've got to plan the whole thing. This is why I obviously got a lot of respect for Mr. Isaac, because I said, look, I'm struggling for a guest, and he literally had like 10 minutes. He's like, I'm there, done. And that's how the whole like expert thing kind of came.
Chipping away at you for at least 6-7 months, Liam.
Yeah, and I've probably just been a bit stubborn and just didn't listen.
Yeah, because I really wanted you to have what I have with JFB.
Yeah.
Because it creates a different type of show, and like if no one shows up, you're all good because you got your buddy.
Yeah. You could pull out a SummerSlam review show out of your rear end.
Yeah.
That should be a new segment.
During AEW Dynamite.
I swear to God, sometimes I wonder what he's snorting or drinking.
Is Wink sleeping in UK language?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wait, what's that mean? Like,
you need
Tony Khan. Is there going to be something going on?
Explanation here. we need like a British to American lingo here, so we know what's going on.
Right.
That would be an interesting segment on the show. Just you guys could do some Southern slang. He could do some UK slang, and you just like throw it back and forth and see if the other person could guess what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So obviously, as JP and obviously Canada said there, from the 3rd of December, obviously you will be my co-host. Give people a little brief thing what to expect.
Well, one thing that I definitely want to do with these podcasts is I want to get you roped into being a little more conversational with me. So we're gonna bounce back and forth off each other, and we're gonna go to some really fun places here. I'm excited about it. We'll find some people to bring on from time to time. I've already got a couple ideas in my head. You've laid some ideas out. I gave you some ideas as well. We're going to be discussing some things. I know one thing you guys were talking about on your last show about the Attitude Era that the three of you did. You mentioned Beyond the Mat. So I reached out to you and said, hey, why don't we watch Beyond the Mat and like go into depth about it and talk about it and talk about the ramifications of what we see in there and how it compares to wrestling today and what have you. I just thought that would make a fascinating episode. So we're going to do that. I gave you a couple other ideas as well, and I'm excited. I'm excited to go through with this, and we're gonna have a hell of a show, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
The other thing I forgot to mention was for Wrestling with the Paranormal is as a result of how good last night was. Like I instantly said, We be there like every week. Come on, let's do this. But so as a result, I'm doing the next best thing. You're going to do the Bull or True segment, but obviously you'll come back when you can. But I'm bringing in rotating guest. JFB is going to come in at least once a month. We're going to have Dollywood in quite often, and seeing who else we can bring in and get that third person in there, because it adds so much more having a third person on that show.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously the one thing I like about it is obviously us four, we can help each other out on each other's show. Like obviously we can help on All Left in Wrestling show, the Magic of Wrestling. Dynamite After Dark's kind of challenging for me because of the time zones, but
we want you on there eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see them monsters. I'll have to have 4.
Well, what time of the day would that be for you, Liam? Like, if you did do that show, what time of the day would that be?
So we're 5 hours ahead of you, so it'd be like 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
So you just have to get up really early when you don't have work the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you have to watch the show too, so it doesn't really work.
Absolutely. So one last little question: when obviously things never go to plan, so how do we deal with these? So I'll start with kind of around this one. So if something doesn't go to plan on the show, how do you deal with it?
This has been my whole thing since starting F in Wrestling. Is I learned early on. Sometimes you get shit, and you don't want to make a shit sandwich. But when you get lemon, you want to turn it into lemonade. And and pretty much I found that you can do that with anything.
Yeah.
You can do that with absolutely anything. I had my cat got run over 5-6 years ago, and I was devastated. I love this cat so much. But I needed a new cat, and there was this cat that was having this horrible life, and he's being treated bad, and so they were going to get rid of him, and I went to go see him, and I picked him up, and I took him home, and then I got Nightwing. I got an AK Fruit Cat, and it was the best thing that I got lemons. And they turn it into lemonade. So it's not always bad. Is it just bad? Yeah. You can always turn it into something good.
Yeah, absolutely. JFP, what about you? When things don't go to plan, how do you deal with them?
Yeah, it's like turning chicken shit into chicken salad, baby.
Yeah, baby.
You just go with the flow. You just go with the flow. I mean, we had Buff Bagwell was supposed to be on the episode about a month or two ago, and through unfortunate events, he had to cancel. We there's some scrambling, that goes on, but I always have episodes in the back pocket that we can eventually go to.
Well, for the next time, he wasn't able to come the next time either, so we had a backup plan that time.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, we had a backup plan. Yeah, we had a backup goalie. That was our starting full-time goalie.
That we didn't really mention is Liam has filled in many times, at a moment's notice.
Yeah,
and he really is. He's, Liam, and I say this to you as my friend, you're like a pillar here at F in Wrestling now. We wouldn't know what to do without you. You're the third guy on the All F in Wrestling show. And you say the Magic of Wrestling is your show, but Wrestling Paranormal is just as much yours.
Yeah.
You didn't start it, but you're there every week, and you saved the show. So thank you very much.
That's a problem. No, it's a problem. I mean, like I said, I'll do anything to help. It shows how much short notice. I had 5 minutes once to get on the show. Bearing in mind, I just got out of the shower. So there's an episode, I'm not telling you which one it is, where literally my hair's just dripping wet, and I'm like, yeah, here we go, let's do this.
That was the one that Bree wanted you to take your shirt off because you look sexy as hell.
And how many views did we get for that one?
Do you remember? Remember the episode of we said that if you get 100 views,
it was one that I was.
You would do the the show shirtless.
Yeah,
and you were so nervous.
Yes,
and
that
close.
Yeah,
It was
and
close.
I actually remember the next episode. It was obviously fan theory JFB, so I'm like, oh dear.
And JFB was willing to do the show shirtless with you.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy that JFB is.
It was. I think, yes, we were literally about 3 shorts, so I'm like, oh, thank God for that. But yeah. But of course, Mr. Isaac, what's the most challenging bit for you when something does go as planned?
I kind of just go with the flow, man. Like, I'm just the kind of guy that I think I'm very good at kind of just bouncing off people and being conversational. So, like, honestly, I kind of like to just Johnny on the spot more so than like pre-planning a bunch of stuff. So, I don't know. That doesn't really bother me. That's why stepping in for you at the last second has never really been an issue for me. I'm like, you know what? I'll turn the microphone on. He'll turn his microphone on. We'll talk some shit about something and we'll make it entertaining. So,
well, that's the same thing. It's like when I let you know, I might need you for Dynamite After Dark. Just and you're like, oh yeah, I'm there if you need me. And that's really cool. That's someone like reliable that you can come on at whenever a moment's notice. Is really cool.
Yeah, and I like being that guy. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. So obviously that wraps it all up. So Canada Dry JFP, what we got on the show tomorrow?
Oh, we're talking about WrestleMania through the eras. So instead of doing a traditional top 10 list, we kind of picked the 5 eras, the golden era, attitude, all the way through the modern day PG era, and picked the 2 WrestleManias from each era that really represent best.
Well, the main events, not just the
the main events. Yeah, main events, not the full WrestleMania, just the main events. So
sweet. And what time is that?
Well, it's 12:30 my time, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific. I'm not sure what time that is in British time. But
5 hours ahead.
5 hours ahead.
There you go. So that pretty much wraps it all up. One last thing, Mr. Isaac, do you want to tell them about the mailbox which we set up?
Yeah. So one of the ideas that I threw out to Liam, and I've seen other podcasters do this as well, and I've always liked this and thought it was a good idea. We're going to have a monthly mailbag episode here at the Magic of Wrestling. And Liam has already set up a Gmail account specifically for the mailbag. Do you want to give that email address out, Liam?
It's above your screen.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's got, well, that's very nifty. I didn't even know that. So thank you. Yeah. So we're going to have a mailbag episode once a month where the All F and Wrestling community can send us any kind of questions they want. You could even slide through a few questions that are non-wrestling if you want. Maybe we'll pick 1 or 2 of those. But I think that's going to be a good thing that we could do once a month. Kind of gives us something fun, something that we don't have to like plan very methodically. We could just pull out some emails, read them. Each one of us will respond to it accordingly. And I think that could be a lot of fun. I think it'll increase engagement with the community.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I wanted to talk about the F and Wrestling logo for 1 second.
Okay, go ahead.
So a lot of people they wonder why we got the fingers. What's with the fingers? Yeah, it looks cool, but what's it for? What are we giving the finger to? Why? What's with the attitude? Like, it's not actually attitude. We're actually giving the finger to depression, to stuff that keeps you down. And the reason I say every single episode, remember, just keep fighting, is because life is hard and you just need a little bit of courage sometimes. Yeah. And so we're giving the finger to all the stuff that keeps you down. And so from now on, whenever I say just keep fighting, I'm not going to put my fist up. I'm going to put my fingers up.
All right.
I like
Sweet.
that. I like that.
Sweet. So, like I said, one last thing from JP and Canada Dry. JP, tell them about where we can find everything.
Oh man. Ha ha ha. You can find all our stuff at fnwrestling.com. Scroll all the way down. It's all our social media links all the way down, very bottom. You can go to youtube.com/fnwrestling. You can find all our links social media wise there too. If you like t-shirts, I'm not wearing one because the Bruins are playing tonight. I am wearing my Bruins jersey, but you can go to FN Wrestling. Oh yeah, there you go. We got FN Wrestling shirt, the Magic of Wrestling. You can go to prowrestlingtees.com/FN Wrestling. We are huge fans of Adrian Adonis. Big enough fans that we run his Pro Wrestling Tee store as well. prowrestlingtees.com/Adrian Adonis, where you can get all that amazing merch.
There you go. There you go. And obviously, before we end Canada Dry, you can have the last word. Go ahead and say anything you want.
remember, just keep fighting.
Yeah.
There you go.